The video was 43 seconds long. I watched it 11 times before I put my phone down, not because I needed to watch it 11 times to understand what it contained. I understood it completely by the second viewing. I watched it 11 times because each viewing added a layer of clarity to what I was feeling. Peeling back the initial shock to reveal the specific cold thing underneath it that I had learned over 44 years of life and 12 years of building a business from nothing was the most useful feeling I possessed, not anger. Anger is hot and imprecise and spends itself quickly. What was underneath the shock was something colder and more durable focus. The video had been posted to a private family group chat, a WhatsApp group called Harrington Family that contained 23 members and had been created 3 years ago for the ostensible purpose of sharing family updates and coordinating gatherings. In the video, my in-laws, my husband's parents, Gerald and Maureen Harrington, were sitting at their kitchen table, laughing. What they were laughing at was a video they had found on my daughter's school's public Instagram page. My daughter Imani, 13 years old, small for her age, with the specific earnest quality of a child who approaches everything she does with her whole self, had performed in her school's talent show the previous Friday. She had sung, not perfectly. She was 13, and it was her first time on a stage, and she had been nervous in the specific visible way of someone whose courage is outrunning their experience. She had been brave. She had gotten up on that stage, and she had been brave. And Gerald and Maureen Harrington had found the video of her being brave, and they had filmed themselves watching it, and they had laughed at it. Specific, pointed, mocking laughter that had commentary attached. Commentary that I will not reproduce because it does not deserve the dignity of repetition. And they had posted that 43-second video to the family group chat to 23 people, including my husband, because she was 16 and had been added to the family group chat the previous Christmas by Maureen, who thought it would be nice for her to feel included. My daughter Imani's older sister Jade had screenshotted it and shown it to Imani at 10 o'clock on a Thursday night. Imani had not slept. My name is Rochelle Harrington. I am 44 years old, and between 10 o'clock Thursday night and 6:30 Friday morning, I did not sleep either. I spent that time building something. I need to tell you about Gerald and Maureen Harrington before I tell you about what I built. They were people of a specific type, the type that I have encountered enough times in my professional life to recognize on sight, which is the type that mistakes the comfort of their position for the permanence of it. Gerald was 67. He had retired 4 years ago from a mid-level management position at a manufacturing firm. He had the specific confidence of a man who had held authority in a context that was now past, and who had transferred that confidence, without the context, into every room he entered. Maureen was 64. She had run her household with the organizational precision of a former office manager and had extended that precision into the management of the extended Harrington family in a way that positioned her as its center without ever requiring her to be its most loving member. They had been civil to me for 12 years of my marriage to their son David. Civil in the way of people who have made a calculation and determined that active hostility costs more than it returns. Civil in the way of people who have a private assessment of you that they deploy in selected company and keep contained in others. The family group chat had been selected company. They had not calculated that it would reach me. They had not, in making that miscalculation, fully considered what I did for a living. My firm, Harrington Media Solutions, yes, named for the family I had married into, a decision I had made at 32 with the specific confidence of a woman who believed she was building something with a partner and had not yet fully understood the family she was also building it alongside, was a digital communications and reputation management company. We had 18 employees. We had 31 clients. Our work was the specific, technical work of understanding how information moved through digital environments and how narratives attach themselves to people and institutions, and what could be done with sufficient expertise and sufficient speed to shape those movements. I had been doing this work for 12 years. I understood, at a level of technical and strategic depth, that Gerald and Maureen Harrington had no framework for exactly how information spread and exactly what it meant when it did, and exactly what the levers were for making it spread in directions you chose rather than directions it chose for itself. I had spent 12 years doing this for clients. On Thursday night, I did it for my daughter. The first thing I did was remove Jade from the family group chat, not dramatically, quietly, from my phone. Jade was 16 and had seen what she had seen and did not need to remain in an environment that contained the people who had posted it. The second thing I did was call David. He was already awake. He had seen the video in the group chat before I called him. I knew this because when he answered, his voice had the specific quality of a man who is sitting with something he does not know how to hold. "I know," he said when I called. "I need to know something," I said. "Okay," he said. "Are you going to handle this?" A A pause. Yes, he said. I'm going to call them tonight. That's not what I mean by handle it, I said. Another pause. Longer. What do you mean, he said. I mean, are you going to do what needs to be done, I said. Not what's comfortable. What's necessary? He was quiet. Tell me what you're thinking, he said. I told him. He listened to all of it. When I finished, he said, I'm with you. Whatever you need. Everything. I said. You have it, he said. At 11:30, I opened my laptop. I worked until 6:15. What I built in those 7 hours was not complicated. It was thorough. The distinction matters. Complicated things can fail at their complications. Thorough things succeed because they cover everything. Rochelle Harrington's digital footprint was modest. A Facebook account, a LinkedIn profile from his working years, a membership in 2 local organizations that had websites listing their members. The modest footprint of a man who had never considered that the internet was a place where he was visible. Maureen Harrington's footprint was larger. She was more socially active. A neighborhood association she was involved with, a church women's group that had a public Facebook page, a local charity whose website listed her as a volunteer. The family group chat video was private. It lived only in the group, and I was in the group. But I had screenshotted it, and the school's Instagram video of Imani performing. The video that Gerald and Maureen had used as the source material for their commentary was public. And I had 12 years of expertise in exactly how these 2 pieces of information could be placed in relationship to each other in a digital environment. I am going to be precise about what I did and what I did not do. I did not fabricate anything. I did not post the video of Gerald and Maureen publicly. What I did was contact, individually and directly, 7 people, the pastor of Gerald and Maureen's church, the president of Maureen's neighborhood association, the director of the charity Maureen volunteered with, the chair of the local organization Gerald belonged to, 3 members of the extended family in the group chat whom I knew from 12 years of relationship to be people whose opinions mattered to Gerald and Maureen and whose knowledge of this event would produce consequences that I could not produce myself. To each of these 7 people, I sent the same thing, a factual account of what had happened, the talent show, the video, the recording of laughter and commentary, the posting to a group that included the child being mocked. I attached the screenshot. I asked for nothing. I provided information. What people did with information was their own decision. The first call came at 6:47 in the morning. From Maureen, I was still at my laptop. I had not slept. I let it go to voicemail. The second call came at 6:53, Gerald. I let it go to voicemail. The third call came at 7:04, David's sister, Patricia, who had been in the group chat and who was, I knew, one of the most direct members of the Harrington family, a woman whose opinion Gerald and Maureen valued more than almost anyone's. I answered. Rochelle, Patricia said. Patricia, I said. I got your message this morning, she said. I want you to know I had already seen the video last night and I was sick about it. I didn't know what to do. You didn't need to do anything, I said. I handled it. A pause. What did you send? They're frantic. The truth, I said, to the people who deserve to have it. A silence. How is Imani, she said. Asleep right now, I said. Which is the best thing for her? Will she be okay? She's going to be extraordinary, I said. She was extraordinary last Friday on that stage. She was brave enough to get up in front of people and sing, and she did it with everything she had. I paused. She doesn't need their validation to know that. She never did. Patricia was quiet for a moment. No, she said. She doesn't. What I needed, I said, was for the people around them to understand what they did, so that the next time, if there is a next time, there is no audience for it. Patricia said nothing for a moment, then, there won't be a next time. I know, I said, because you'll make sure of it. Yes, she said. I will. Gerald and Maureen called 6 more times between 7 and 9. At 9:15, I answered my phone. Gerald spoke first. He was, I noted, using a register I had not heard from him before. Not the comfortable authority of his retirement years, not the managed civility of 12 years of calculated politeness. Something more stripped, more genuinely uncertain. Rochelle, he said. We need to talk. Yes, I said. We do. What you sent to people was accurate, I said. I sent accurate information about what you did to 7 people who are part of your life and who deserve to know. You didn't need to involve. You involved 23 people, I said. You posted a video mocking a 13-year-old to 23 family members. I contacted 7 adults in your community. I think the scale is appropriate. A silence. Maureen's voice in the background. Then Gerald again. We made a mistake, he said. Yes, I said. We didn't think. That's accurate, I said. You didn't think about what it would feel like to be 13 years old and have the people who are supposed to be your family watch a video of your bravery and laugh at it. You didn't think about what it would feel like for my daughter to find out. I paused. I need you to understand something about what I do for a living. I understand exactly how information moves. I understand exactly what it costs when it moves incorrectly. I spent 12 years protecting other people's reputations from exactly the kind of careless, targeted cruelty that you posted to a family group chat on Thursday night. A pause. I am very good at my job, and last night I applied my job to you. I want you to understand that the 7 people I contacted are the minimum of what I could have done. I want you to understand that the minimum was a choice I made deliberately. The silence on the other end was the specific silence of people sitting inside a sentence they have just understood completely. What do you want from us? Gerald said. I want you to call my daughter, I said. Not today, not tomorrow, when you have something real to say, not an excuse and not a performance, something real. And I want you to understand that the information I have does not expire. It is documented. It exists. And if there is ever another moment in which my daughter is the subject of your entertainment, in any context, in any group, to any audience, I will not send 7 messages. I will send everything I have, everywhere it belongs. A silence. Do you understand me? I said. Yes, Gerald said. Maureen, I said. Do you understand me? A pause. Maureen said. Good, I said. Then we're done for today. I ended the call. I closed my laptop. I went upstairs. I looked in on Imani, still asleep on her side, the specific peaceful stillness of someone whose body has decided that rest is the first requirement of repair. I watched her for a moment. Then I went to my own room. I lay down. I slept for 3 hours. Imani woke up at noon. She came downstairs with the specific careful quietness of a child, moving through the morning after a hard night, checking the temperature of the house before committing to a speed. I was in the kitchen. She sat at the table. I made her the breakfast she always wanted when things were hard. Eggs with the cheese she liked, toast cut the way she had asked for it since she was 6, orange juice in the blue glass that had always been hers. She ate. I sat across from her. After a while, she said, "Did you do something?" "Yes," I said. "What?" she said. I told her. Not everything. The technical details were not what she needed at noon on a Friday, but the shape of it. That I had contacted people who were part of their lives and given them accurate information about what had happened. That Gerald and Maureen had called. That they understood the conversation was not finished. She was quiet. "Did it help?" she said. "I thought about this." "It changed something," I said. "The specific thing it changed is that the people around them now know, which means the next time they consider making you the subject of a laugh, they will remember that there is an audience for that choice and that the audience is not one they want." She thought about this with the serious attention she brought to everything. "So they're scared," she said. "Yes," I said. She nodded slowly. "Good," she said, not with cruelty, with the specific, honest satisfaction of a 13-year-old who has been told that the people who hurt her are now sitting inside the weight of what they did. "You were brave last Friday," I said, "getting up on that stage." "I was nervous," she said. "Being nervous and doing it anyway is what brave is," I said. She looked at her orange juice. "Can I go back to the talent show next year?" she said. Something in my chest expanded with the specific fullness of a feeling that does not have a simple name. Relief and pride and love and something else. Something that was about watching a person decide that they are not going to be made smaller by something that tried to make them smaller. "Yes," I said. "You can go back every year." "Okay," she said. And that was that. Gerald and Maureen called Imani 6 weeks later. David told me about it afterward. He had sat with Imani while she took the call, close enough to hear, far enough to give her space. Maureen had cried, he said. Imani had been polite. Not warm, she was 13, and the warm would take time if it came at all. But polite. Present, willing to receive the apology without performing more than she felt. When the call was over, David told me, Imani had sat quietly for a moment, then she had said, "It wasn't enough, but it was something." "Is that okay?" David had asked. "Yes," she had said, because Mom made sure they understood, so the apology means more than it would have if she hadn't. David told me this at dinner that evening. I listened, then I said, "She's going to be extraordinary." "She already is," he said. "I know," I said. "I just like saying it. Before you go, I need your honest answer in the comments right now. Was contacting 7 people the right level of response? Or should Rochelle have gone further?" Some people will say she showed restraint. Others will say Gerald and Maureen deserved everything she held back. Tell me exactly where you stand. I read every single comment. If this story moved something real in you, if you have ever had to decide how far is far enough when someone hurts your child, hit that like button so this story finds the parents who need it today. Share this with every mother who has ever sat at a laptop at midnight building something to protect someone she loves. And if you believe that the most powerful thing a parent can do is make sure the people who hurt their child understand the cost, subscribe, because every week this channel brings the stories of parents who chose their children completely and without apology. Audible's first month is free. The link is in the description. For every parent who has watched their child be brave on a stage and felt their whole heart stand up. There are stories in that app that understand exactly what that love feels like and exactly what it demands. Go find one tonight. The link is right there.